yeah, 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 yeah. And we'll just reiterate quickly what we got to last time, which was I suggested to you that everything in rhythmic music arises from a thing called the beat, and that the beat is the primary unit of measurement of rhythm, just in the same way as inches can be a primary measure of how long things are. And so beat really just kind of means if you're walking along that main pulse that you have. Um, and then we had subdivision, which is where you do some things in between the beats, um, a number of them, maybe two, maybe three, maybe four, maybe even five in between the beats. So, and then you have longer things, which are bars, which are groups of, of beats. And that's kind of it. And then from that, we use these building blocks to build what you might call rhythmic DNA or rhythmic stuff, of which kind of every funky song ever comprises. So this week we've got a sort of a strong focus on the offbeat. We want to talk about the offbeat and experience the offbeat in a few different ways. So what do we mean exactly by an offbeat? We mean a beat, and now that this is the nice kind of thing in a way, now that we've established really clearly that um, that the beat is with our step, then an offbeat, clearly by implication, is something that doesn't occur on a step. So anything that doesn't happen on a step is an offbeat. So so the best way to do that is just to say the word taco. So it's just like it's just going taco, 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 tac, 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 taco, 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 tac. And it's a kind of training, if you like, in tac, 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 left. Sorry, yeah, yeah, left. It's a training in perception, of the difference between the feeling of the first syllable and the feeling of the second syllable. So the feeling of the first syllable is like ta, 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 ta. So if you're going to put that somewhere in the body, what direction is it, would you say? Maybe just point in the direction. Is it sort of up? Is it to the left? Is it down? Bill Fairhall thinks it's down. 2, 2, 3, 4. Taco, 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 taco. Excellent. And then you've got this whole word, of course. So now start saying the whole word. Taco, 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 taco. And then you start emphasizing that even more than the first word. Taco, go, 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 taco, go, 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 taco, go, 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 taco, go, go, go. And now show me with your hands to taco, go, 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 taco. What direction is that? Go, taco, go. Up, says Nick Petty. Go, 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 taco, go, 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 taco, go, 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 taco. That's nice. And then so you have this experience of where you can do some of them down and then some of them up. So you can do 4 of them down and then 4 of them up. So you're starting to experience this thing of what an offbeat is. So it's tac, 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 go, 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 like that. 2, 3, 4. Tac, 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 go, 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 tac, 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 go, 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 tac, tac, tak, 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 go, 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 tak, 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 go, 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 tak, 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 go, 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 tak. How does that feel? Have you got a sensation of that, everybody? Excellent. So, and that's opposed to, so what you're going to notice now is if we do a senorita and two tacos as a way of filling up 8 beats, so using our kind of units of measurement, when I said 8 beats, I should have said 4 beats with a subdivision of 2. So you've got 8 little beats, 8 microbeats that adds up to 4 beats. So Jean Plymouth is agreeing; she thinks it's correct. So, so the sort of easiest way to divide that is to divide it into a 4 and 2 twos. So in which case it would be 2, 3, 4. Señorita taco, taco, 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 señorita taco. But what do you notice there about the relationship between the strong beats, as in the si and the ta, ta, and the step? What do you notice about that relationship? Quickly in the chat, tell me. Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of very regular, it's very square. It's really, the strong beat is on the step, as Kate James says. And so it's kind of, it's got this kind of solid, safe kind of feeling to it, which you contrast with if you put 2 chihuahuas with a taco to make up 8. So chihuahua, chihuahua, duck, chihuahua, chihuahua, duck, chihuahua, chihuahua, duck, chihuahua, chihuahua, duck. So let's try that. 2, 3, 4. Chihuahua, chihuahua, duck, 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 chi. And what do you notice there about that second chihuahua? What do you notice about the second chihuahua? It is not on a step, says Jess. Yes. So what you've got there is a combination of beats which are on the step and beats which are off the step. And that's like a really important kind of thing to know about a beat, whether it's an on beat or an off beat. If it's an off beat, it's got this kind of backward kind of feeling. And they say, like people say, that music is comprised of, like, rhythm is really comprised of nothing more than 2s and 3s in combinations. And the reason that 2s and 3s work together so well is that it enables you to move in between being on the on beat and being on the off beat, which is kind of the basis of all funkiness. So, yeah. So you'll notice then that this is the beginning of sort of everything in terms of making funky rhythmic phrases, and this is what we're doing now is kind of absolutely sufficient to for you to do any rhythmic phrase. It's interesting when we start talking about offbeats because you know that there is more than one way to divide a beat. It can be divided into 2 or 3 or 4 commonly. So what we've been experiencing is the offbeat, which is when you're dividing the beat into two subdivisions. So taco, 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 taco. But if you're dividing it into three, of course, you've kind of got two offbeats, right? So, and both of those have got a sort of a different feeling to them. So, chihuahua, 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 chihuahua. Now, and if you're feeling particular, and you let your hand do the, so you can just transfer to that slowly. So start with chihuahua, 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 wah wah, wah wah, wah wah, chihuahua, 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 wah wah, wah wah, wah wah, chihuahua, 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 wah wah, wah wah, wah wah, chihuahua, 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 wah wah, chihuahua, wah wah. Yeah, and we could even sort of just experience each of those individually because of the three of them. The kind of easier one to do really is the one that comes before the beat when you've got three, because it kind of locates itself nicely just as a skip into the beat. So if you go chi, wa 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 chi. And then the other one, if you just do the first two syllables and leave out the last one, chiwa, 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 chiwa. And much easier if you just do a little breath in there to keep yourself in time. Chiwa, chiwa, chi, chiwa, 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 chi. Good. How did you go with that? Thumbs up if you think you're still on board. Great. And about having rhythms in three is the interplay of having twos in amongst the threes, just as the excitement in having a four rhythm or a two rhythm is having threes in there amongst the twos and fours. It's like you make the whole thing exotic, whichever way you take it. You're taking it to the other side, if you like. So a nice thing to do with the three groove is to do a couple of chihuahuas and then taco, 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 three tacos. But we're going to keep the beat the same as it is. So we've got three subdivisions. We've got four beats to the bar. And it's going to be chihuahua, chihuahua, tac, 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 chihuahua, chihuahua, taco, 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 chihuahua, chihuahua, taco, 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 chihuahua, chihuahua, tac, 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 chihuahua, chihuahua, taco, taco, tac, chihuahua, chihuahua, tac, 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 chi. Again, just give me thumbs up if you're on that. Wow, that's great. Those of you who know the old West Side Story song, I'd Like to Be in America, will know that that exactly fits that series of subdivisions. But the really nice thing is that doing the three tacos enables you to experience each of the different types. So if you think about it, the first taco is on the beat, the second taco is on the last offbeat, and the third taco is on the second to last offbeat. Great. So, yeah, I don't know if I can help with seeing my other hand. Great. So, Then, of course, you've got your subdivisions of four. Subdivisions of four. Obviously, you then have not only 3 offbeats, but if you like, in exactly the same way as if you've got an inch divided into 2 halves and then 4 quarters. So if you're thinking about distance and measuring things, you've got this 1 inch divided into 2 halves, and then so that's a valid definition and a useful one. And then sometimes you divide it even further and divide it into the 4 quarter inches as well. So if we have a sort of a so it's that kind of the easiest way to get into that funk feel with the 4 subdivisions is thinking of a song like Superstitious. It's the way I kind of get that speed right. With the scene right, señorita, señorita, tac, 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 señorita, señorita. So things are going quite fast. Señorita, señorita, tac, 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 señorita, señorita, tac, 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 señorita, señorita, tac, 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 señorita, tac, 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 señorita. And if you're doing tacos in this, the taco is 2 syllables in itself. So the taco is just splitting the beat in half. So, señorita, señorita, tac, 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 tac. So just try doing that. Señorita, señorita, tac, 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 tac. 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 Señorita, tac. Yeah. The easiest way to kind of think of the smaller divisions within this funky feel is doing that thing that take my tape but don't take my tape deck, because sometimes with words you can kind of more easily so señorita is good, but I think like don't take my tape deck, 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 don't take don't take don't take my tape deck. Do a couple more of those. Don't take my tape deck. Don't take my tape deck. Don't take my tape deck. And they just say the don't take, don't take, don't take, don't take, don't take, don't take, don't take. Yeah, good. Thumbs up if you think you're getting that. Oh, you guys are crazy good. I don't believe this. And the other one, which is the last one, is often like played, for example, on the bass drum. So like boom, 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 boom. If you're doing it with the Mexican, then it will be hey chihuahua every time. So it'll be like hey chihuahua, 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 hey, hey chihuahua, hey chihuahua, hey chihuahua, hey, hey chi, hey chi, hey chi, hey. And if it's the 4th one, then it's chihuahua comes first. 3, 4. Chihuahua, hey 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 chihuahua. Hey, yeah. So, and notice that it's particularly hard to do if you isolate it from the other beat, and like that's really hard to do. It's like if you want to go, hey, 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 hey. I won't ask you to do that because it's just kind of weird. Brilliant. Everyone's still on board. This is good. So we're going to sort of start mocking up some rhythmic DNA because I think it's the way to think about these things. I'm going to start with a really nice one, and there'll be a special sort of prize if anyone can guess what it is that this is. because this one's a palindrome. It's a 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. 4's at the beginning and end, then 3's, and then a 2 in the middle. So it's going to be Señorita. Thank you, Coral. 3. So Señorita Chihuahua, tak, Chihuahua, Señorita. Now what you really just, when you're experiencing a taco which is off the beat, then you've got to, I just want to sort of talk about how to approach that. I want you to work towards feeling that as an offbeat. It's certainly possible to do this. Señorita Chihuahua, taco. Like taco. Señorita Chihuahua, taco, Chihuahua, señorita, señorita Chihuahua, taco, Chihuahua, señor, taco, Chihuahua, señorita. In other words, it's easy to keep the emphasis on the foot, the emphasis on the beat, but the journey that I'd like you to take is to start experiencing the emphasis and indeed like the whole point of the note as being on that offbeat. So we can begin by just saying the words, but as we go through it, so you can remember going Señorita Chihuahua, taco Chihuahua, Señorita. So you can do that in a way which is kind of like democratic, if you like. So everything's kind of got the same value. Señorita Chihuahua, taco Chihuahua, Señorita, Señorita Chihuahua, taco Chihuahua, señorita, señorita, Chihuahua, taco Chihuahua, señorita, señorita, Chihuahua, taco, hey Chihuahua, whoa, sorry, señorita, Chihuahua, taco, Chihuahua, señorita. And as time goes on, so I'll try to just give you the, as put your hand up if you lost yourself at any point in there. That includes me. Excellent. Okay. So we can build it up from the beginning, right? So, Señorita Chihuahua and yeah. Señorita Chihuahua and boom. Señorita Chihuahua, hey boom. So I'm just going to do Señorita Chihuahua, kaboom. Now those of you who are stepping, there's something really crucial you can do in a 4-step, which is that you can place the one beat of the bar forwards. So you step forward on the first beat of the bar, which should be your left foot, my right foot. So I'm mirroring you. Is that right, Coral? If you're naturally mirroring me, what's going on?
Put up your left hand.
This is my left hand.
That looks like a right hand. So yes, it's mirrored.
What does that mean? If you mirror me, then what hand is that?
My right.
It's my right. So if I tell you to go, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that's correct. So I'm going to go on my right foot, and you're going to go. Everyone else is going to go on your left foot, and then you're going to be mirroring me. So, so the 4 comes forward. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the point of this 3, 4. The point of this is that rhythm needs to be anchored in a feeling in the body, and not be something that you think about. So boom, 2, 3, 4, and boom. So the idea really is that boom, 2, 3, 4, and boom. So you can experience that boom verbally or with your fist, and boom, 2, 3. And you should be able to, ideally, just kind of turn and chat to your partner or your neighbor. 3, 4, boom, 2, 3, 4, and boom. Yeah, and boom, 2, 3, 4, and boom. Then we're going to begin with the señorita. Señorita, and boom. Nice. Señorita, and boom. Señorita, and boom. Señorita, boom, 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 and boom. Now you add the chihuahua. Señorita, chihuahua, boom. Señorita Chihuahua, and boom. Señorita Chihuahua, and boom. Thumbs up if you're still on board. Señorita Chihuahua, and boom. Ta, ta. Señorita Chihuahua, and boom. Yeah. Señorita Chihuahua, and boom. Now we add the taco. Señorita Chihuahua taco. Señorita Chihuahua taco. So you can begin by going, Señorita Chihuahua taco, just like a taco. Señorita Chihuahua taco. Now see if you can just not say this ta. So not say the ko. So it's like this. Señorita Chihuahua ta. Señorita Chihuahua ta. Boom. Señorita Chihuahua tac boom. So it's like tac boom. Yep. Señorita Chihuahua tac boom. Señorita Chihuahua tac. Yeah. Señorita Chihuahua tac boom. And we add a Chihuahua now. Señorita Chihuahua tac Chihuahua. Señorita Chihuahua tac Chihuahua. Señorita Chihuahua, tac, Chihuahua. And again, Señorita Chihuahua, tac, Chihuahua. Emphasize that, Señorita Chihuahua, tac, Chi. Señorita Chihuahua, tac, Chihuahua. You can still say those other words, tac, Chihuahua. You can still say them, Chihuahua, tac, Chi. Señor. Chihuahua, tac, chi. Señorita Chihuahua, tac, chi. And finally, we're going to finish with a señorita tour from tac, chi. Señorita, señorita Chihuahua, tac, chi. Señorita Chihuahua, Chihuahua, tac, chi. Señorita, señorita Chihuahua, tac, chi. Señorita, señorita Chihuahua, tac, chi. Señorita. And it's, you know, it's good when you're doing these kinds of rhythms. And it's one of the things that I really sort of forgot to sort of say formally in the video about, you can, when you're learning rhythms and you're confident of a step, then you can anchor the, when you're teaching people stuff with a funny rhythm, people have got different ways of conceptualizing it. Some people are like, oh, you know, minim, crotchet, crotchet, crotchet. And some people are like, sing the phrase, 2, 3, 3.5, and boom. And they're counting. And it's not that there's anything wrong with those ways of conceptualizing rhythm. But if you've got a bodily cycle, for example, in this case, the second señorita, you know that it begins on a back leg on the right-hand side, because the one on the front leg is obviously 2 steps away, and therefore four syllables away, 4 mini beats away. So you go señorita, señorita. So those two line up. So that's these kinds of things. Like once you get a little body map, and what you need to do is get a little body map where you lock in one part of the phrase with one part of your step. You lock those two things in together, and then you're laughing, because not only are you, how can I put this? It's like if you've got a rhythmic format in your brain, which consists of, I sing this phrase and then I wait 3 beats, and then I sing this phrase and then I wait 2 beats, and then I sing that one note and then I wait 2 beats. It's a sequential thing which has got all of the shortcomings of the old style phone trees, where it's only as strong as the weakest link. And if you make a mistake early on, there's no way of getting back. If you're anchored in your step, then you have really powerful information, which is kind of undeniable. One of which is where the phrase begins, and one of which is any other information that you add to that. So back right-hand side is the señorita that leads into the señorita, so to speak. So let's try that again. Did I say back left? Yeah, back left for you. Sorry. Yeah, back left for you. So so get the step going. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and boom. And tinkle, tinkle, boom. And tinkle, tinkle, boom. Here we go. And Signorita Chihuahua, ta, Chihuahua. Signorita, Signorita Chihuahua, ta, Chihuahua. Signorita, Chi, ta, chi, si. Signorita Chihuahua, ta, Chihuahua. Signorita, Chihuahua, ta, chi. Signorita, Signorita Chihuahua, ta, Chihuahua. Signorita, Signorita Chihuahua, ta, chi. Signorita. So, if anyone's able to guess what song it is that this is the rhythmic DNA to, then I will really take my hat off to you. It goes a bit faster than that. It goes about this speed. And so it's like. Two correct answers there. So just groove with that for a bit. And let's try and do these subdivisions. Signorita Chihuahua, ta chi, signorita, 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 ta chi, signorita, boom. Good. Makes sense? Does it make sense? Yes. Decoding. So the rhythmic DNA of a song may or may not be 1 bar's length. It may be a number of bars lengths, but the rhythmic DNA of a song is always some number of bars length. Like usually 1, 2, or 4. Quite often 2, and very often even just 1 of a. That Twist and Shout's actually Palindrome. And you'll notice the way that the phrase is made. As soon as you put 1 odd number in it, then you're moving to the offbeat. And then if you stay, so what you've got is ba, ba, and it's those 2 beats, which are the 2 offbeats, which combine with the on beats to make the music funky. If the music's all offbeats, then it's like a language that's all vowels and no consonants, and the other way around. It's like the 2 things are opposite to each other and feed off each other, rhythmically speaking. So if you've got music that's ba, boom, 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 it's one thing. And if it's like ga 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 gi go ga 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 ga, you just lose your bananas basically, because you're never grounded. And I really there's music. I just will quickly point out that when we do the groove at the end of Shower the People, James Taylor song, it's really interesting because he has a long sequence of offbeats, and so it's like do 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 do. And when you finally that do there, you've had so many offbeats in a row that to do an onbeat kind of feels like an offbeat. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's just like a horror movie where suddenly there's a really lovely cup of tea between a couple of friendly people and there's no threat at all. Something like that, you know, like it's just a real opposite to what you've experienced, and yet I think we're sort of wired for that, even within bars. Let's try this one. This one's a nice pattern as well because it's like a sequence of 2 3 2s with a 4 in the middle. So this one's, oh look, we'll do another one first actually, sorry. So to this, I really like this one actually. So let's build it up from the beginning again because that's a nice way to get into it. And so we're using the same template as last time. So we're going to start with a taco. 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 Oh, slight pause. I forgot to tell you, we need to have a syllable for one, right? Otherwise, what happens if we have just a building block of one? So one is hey, and so we're just going to go taco, and then we're going to do a hey. So 3, 4, taco, hey. Taco, hey. Which is weird, and it's much easier to add the taco immediately after it. So, so when we get to this taco, obviously the taco's swapped around to the way that it normally is. Normally it's taco, 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 taco. But now it's go taco, 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 taco. So really, it shouldn't be too hard for you to just experience doing that. So if you, let's make up a word called kota, okay? And we're just going to go kota, 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 kota. So we're going to start with kota, and then we're going to trick ourselves into doing the tas. 3, 4. Kota, 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 ta, 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 kota, ta, 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 kota, ta, 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 kota, ta, ta, ta. So you notice that doing, there's a feeling that you're sort of floating uncomfortably with offbeats, and you really want it to end. So you can only keep it going for so long, and before you just want to go tak, or put something on the beat, you know. So anyway, let's just try doing what actually happens in this song, which is a taco and a hey, and then 4 tacos in a row, all of them on the offbeat. This is going to be fun. If you fail, can you just like collapse like physically onto the floor so you disappear from the screen, and just have your legs like twitching up in the air, and then that'll be that'll let us know that you haven't succeeded. So 2, 3, 4. Taco, hit tac, 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 tac. 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 You can do it. Another way of conceptualizing this, I find quite easy. If you do just doing 2-beat subdivisions, you can pat your belly for the 1 beat, which is the beat, which is the step. And just to check that you're right, you can just do this hand in between. 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta, hey, ta, 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 ta. And doing that, you'll notice that every one of those 4 taks is on this hand, the offbeat hand. Anyone succeed in doing that? Thumbs up if you did. Oh, you're an outstanding class. Oh, yeah. So that's just something for you to think about. It may just complicate things, so don't even think about it if you don't want to. 2, 3, 4. Taco, hit taco, 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 taco. Taco, hit taco, If you're just still struggling with it, you can also just try saying the whole word more clearly and then emphasize the call. So it's like taco, hey taco, 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 hey taco, 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 hey taco, 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 taco. Rhythm is like, doing rhythm, as I've said before, it's like you've got to spend quite a lot of time doing it. And it's really important that you also just collapse in a heap every so often. You know that you're on your right learning edge if you're able to kind of fall out and then come back in, fall out and come back in. Um, you might just want to listen for a bit when you come back in as well. I learnt this from Reinhard Flattischler, who has a kind of almost a theory of what happens to the brain in these kinds of situations, which is kind of like begins with kind of cognitive control and like, I think I understand this, I think I've got this, and then pushing the cognitive control so the conscious brain is kind of at its limit, and then pushing it beyond that point because you're trying to make your brain do something that's essentially a bodily kind of thing, and then you just kind of lose your bananas. You lose your bananas, and then hopefully you just thrash around the floor laughing for a while. Then ideally the the release of the laughter means that you can just listen to the music again and maybe perceive it in a different way and feel it in a different way in the body, and then you have another go, and then you get into a slightly deeper level, and then you're going like, oh, okay, I've got this more in the body now. I think I've really got it now. I think I've really got it. I've really not got it. And then you collapse on the floor laughing again. So that's the kind of general process. Um, so and we're going to finish this with a Hey Senorita. So those of you who are attendant to the maths will realize we've had 2 + 1 = 3, and then we've had 8 beats, so that's 11, and we need to get to 16. So I've been watching too much Cracking the Cryptic. Are there any other Sudoku fans here? Cracking the Cryptic. I totally recommend that. But there's a lot of similarities between Sudoku and rhythm in terms of numbers. So we need 4. So the last way, again, we're going to finish with a senorita as we did last time. So it's taco, hey, tac, 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 tac. Hey, senorita, tac, hey, tac, 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 tac. Hey, senorita, taco, hey, tac, 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 tac. Hey, senorita, tac, 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 tac. Hey, senorita, tac, hey, tac, 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 tac. Hey, senorita, tac. So because our emphasis is so much on the offbeats this week, your task is to be able to feel those tacs, which are sitting in between the beats, to feel them for their offness and not have to connect them to an onbeat, to feel an offbeat in its own right. Put your thumbs up if you feel that you're starting to do that. Feel the offbeat in its own right. Yeah, wow. Yeah, Bill Fairhill. Yeah, it's great. So it's really nice if you're on the cusp, then that's just really perfect, because then the class is the right kind of level. So let's try it again. 2, 3, 4. Taco, hey, tac, 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 tac. Senor. Whoops, I missed it. Tac, 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 tac. Hey, senorita, taco, hey, tac, 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 tac. Hey, senorita, taco, hey, tac, 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 tac. Senorita, taco, hey, tac, 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 tac. Hey, senorita, taco, tac, 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 tac. Hey, senorita, taco, hey, tac, 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 tac. Senorita, taco. Good. And I don't know if anyone knows this riff. Ba 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 ba. You won't admit you love me, and so how am I ever? Yeah. perhaps, otherwise known as Casas. Yeah, so it's like taco, hey, tac, 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 hey, senorita, tac, hey, tac, tac, ta ta. Hey signorita taco, hey ta 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 ta. Hey signorita taco, hey taco. I think something like that. Yeah, bésame mucho. Yeah, good stuff. So that's good. Did you get it? Yeah. So there you go. That's we'll do maybe one more. This one's a little bit different, so it might be nice to do this one. What happens if we get into a really relaxed walking speed? Okay, so imagine this time we're going to start with our Chihuahua. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 3, 4. Chihuahua. And Chihuahua. And let yourself move. And Chihuahua. 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 And then rather oddly, Chihuahua, we're going to put a senorita after that Chihuahua. Chihuahua, senorita. Chihuahua, senorita. Chihuahua, senorita. Chihuahua, senorita. Chihuahua, senorita. 3, 4. Chihuahua, senorita. Those of you who are intelligent will realize Chihuahua, senorita. We've now got ourselves onto Chihuahua, senorita. Chihuahua, senorita. Onto the offbeats. So when we do the next Chihuahua, it's also going to be an offbeat. So it's going to be Chihuahua, senorita. Chi. Chihuahua, senorita. Chi. Chihuahua, senorita. Chi. Chihuahua, senorita. Chi. And so both, I'll just pause for a moment, both the second and the third beats of that pattern are a particular form of offbeat, which is where you're anticipating a big bit of the rhythm, particularly the second one, because when you're anticipating, so if you've got something that's on the 8th beat of an 8-note sequence, then you're just before when you're coming back in on the 1, and we all know like the strongest thing is the 1, because that's the 1 that defines everything. So if you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hey boom, hey boom, it's got this amazingly specific place, that number 8 in the bar out of 8 subbeats. It's got this amazingly specific place. In a sense, it's the rhythmic equivalent of the T in the scale. T pointing to Do. Ti, do, ti, do. It so wants to go there. Ti, do. And similarly, down to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3. So that when you have you get this wonderful feeling, which happens when you anticipate. So there's 2 different ways you can anticipate the beginning of a bar. One of them is like a bass drum, where you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, boom, boom, where you've got 2 separate notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, boom, boom. But let's say you're doing a long note, like a bass note, and I did long notes on these things. It will be something like boom, 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 boom. And then we get that strong feeling of the note anticipating the beat, the note getting in ahead of the beat, which is like a very, very specific and funky kind of thing that happens a lot in Cuban music. So let's go back to, so just try doing that just for fun. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, yeah. And of course, the other way of doing that would be, sorry, Chihuahua, señorita. So 3, 4. Chihuahua, señorita. Chihuahua, Chihuahua, señorita. Chihuahua. Chihuahua, señorita, Chihuahua. Nice. And and we're going to follow that up with another Chihuahua, and you'll be happy to know that this Chihuahua, of course, because we've now had 2 odd numbers, we're back to being on the beat. Aren't we, Jean from Plymouth? Jean's nodding sagely. We're back to being on the beat. So it's Chihuahua, señorita, Chihuahua, 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 señorita, Chihuahua, 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 señorita, Chihuahua, 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 sorry, Chihuahua, señorita, Chihuahua, Chihuahua. There's a question, I think it's a good question there about where you put the beat. Is where do you put the beat? Which foot? That's completely arbitrary, and it's completely arbitrary. And if you go, I'm not sure if I'm right in saying this, but when I was watching Cuban people dancing, I was feeling that they were doing the moves of the dance, and they weren't particularly fussy about 1, 2, 3, 4 of the music. They were just so deep inside the music that they were just doing the moves. And I think sometimes they might have even been sort of starting on the 3rd beat of the bar. I don't know if I'm right about that. So definitely left right is completely arbitrary. The fact is that's what's really important is that you're experiencing the 1 as the strong beat, whether it's left or right. So let's just do that again. And now we're finally going to add another Chihuahua. So we basically have like a pack of Chihuahuas with 1 señorita amongst them, which is the 2nd one. So it's Chihuahua, señorita, and then 3 Chihuahuas in a row. And then it's actually 4 Chihuahuas in a row because it starts. Right. So let's give it a shot. Chihuahua, señorita, Chihuahua, 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 señorita, Chihuahua, 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 señorita, Chihuahua, 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 señorita, Chihuahua, 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 señorita, chi. And sometimes it's quite nice to take out some of the beginning of the pattern as well. So we could ignore the first 2 and just go chi. Oh, chi, Chihuahua. 1, 2, 3. Chi. Oh, chi. Ah. Chi. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chi. Yeah. So you're going to count 4, and then after the 4, you're going to do chi in this nice pattern. Just try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chi. 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 Boom. Chi. And with this one, it's like your task is not so much feeling the offbeat, but just feeling that groove without counting it. How many people are okay with the chi? Thumbs up, thumbs across, thumbs across, thumbs across. Yeah, so maybe it helps to put the others back in. 3, 4. Chihuahua, señorita, Chihuahua, 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 señorita, Chihuahua, 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 signori, chihuahua, 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 signori, chihuahua, 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 signori, chihuahua, chihuahua, signori, chihuahua, 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 signori, chihuahua, chihuahua, chihuahua. And we've really reached quite a hard point there. So if you're not getting that completely, then you won't be alone by any means. And just for your FYI, that was based off True Colors by Cyndi Lauper. So that's I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors. And it doesn't work for the next bit, so it's just for the first bit too. I see your chihuahua shining through. I see Chihuahua, señorita, Chihuahua, Chihuahua, Chihuahua. Yeah. So there you go. That's just like a crazy kind of thing to finish for you. But I really encourage you to, if you're struggling a little bit more, or if you're just curious to sort of reconnect, I encourage you to look at the video. I think Cora will put the link, but it's on the singlet page as well, or you can just Google my name in YouTube. And that's brilliant. We're going to do more rhythmic DNA next week. Keep up the good work, and I might try to make it now that I've finally worked out how to do it. I might make a little YouTube video about rhythmic DNA at some point. And next week, I think maybe we'll focus on threes. I think next week the focus is going to be on threes. So my big thanks to Cora, my big thanks to you. 1,000 waves to all of you. Have a beautiful day, and I'm just going to go off and eat some lamb. Thank you very much.